use for itself a warrant to go ahead into somebody's home when they're trying to apprehend people that they call absconders, fugitive aliens, people with old deportation orders or possibly people with old criminal convictions, okay? ICE goes into homes, and what Cardozo documented through FOIA requests and through getting information, forcing it out, was that consistently ICE was violating the terms of the warrants that they issue for themselves. They were physically breaking into homes. They were doing collateral arrests. So we're here looking for Juan Diego. Oh, Juan Diego's here? Well, we'll take Jimena Diego and Pablo Diego and whoever else happens to be there. Are plenty of Pakistanis and Bangladeshis as well. So what Cardozo School of Law did was document what basically people have known anecdotally, which is that ICE is not abiding by the terms of the detainer. They're going ahead and rapidly abusing the detainer. And again, to tie this back to 287G, if Cardozo School of Law has documented that ICE is abusing detainers, 287G gives regular criminal law enforcement the power to also issue and abuse detainers. ICE can't manage its own detainer system. How is it going to oversee other officers doing it? I don't know.
And the way they go into these houses, shotguns.
You have people, I mean, it's crazy. You're talking about, SWAT teams of 7 to 10 officers, bulletproof vests, shotguns. They recently, or under the Bush administration, they changed up their jackets. It used to say ICE, now it says ICE police. Technically, ICE isn't supposed to be police. They're not criminal law enforcement officials. They're civil authorities, at least the ones that are going in for these raids. I mean, you have people, like I know, for example, a family in Brooklyn, they're members of families, in the Bronx, members of Families for Freedom, where an 11-year-old girl had to basically answer the door at 6 a.m. to a team of 8 ICE officers busting in, looking for her father. Her father was in the shower getting cleaned up for work, taking her father and then taking her uncle, who wasn't even listed on their warrant. So this is the way that detainers are basically being used and abused under the Obama administration as well.
Do you see this changing at all?
It changes if we say it, right? It changes if we talk about it and expose it. There's a deep concern right now that there's never been a more important moment, I think, politically, and an opportunity, frankly, to call out what's happening for the sake of redefining the agenda. The fact is the Obama administration should stop treating immigration as a counterterrorism project. They should stop this war of attrition, this devolution of immigration authority. They should stop this rapid use of detainers, this expansive use of detainers. It's probably in violation of the detainer laws. And mind you, everything I've listed is administratively what they can do. Short of comprehensive immigration reform, there's so much that the Obama administration could be doing right now, but it seems like what they could be doing is directly opposite to what they are doing.
And final recommendations from your report from Democracy on ICE beyond what you've just described.
I mean, we recommended in Local Democracy on ICE that you terminate the 287G program entirely because it does not serve a public safety function. We also recommended that that we create real reporting requirements for ICE to continue to receive funding. We are in a moment of economic crisis. ICE's budget continues to grow. It's over $6 billion today, which is larger than the budget of all of Haiti. It's over $6 billion today. It's continuing to grow. It's continuing to get money from appropriations. And while our appropriators in Congress are pumping money into ICE, our Democratic appropriators are pumping money into ICE, they're not creating any real reporting requirements so we can assess the effectiveness of the agency. So those are some basic recommendations we have.
Roberto, Lovato, comment on that, and then I want to ask you about Honduras, a recent interview you did with a leading labor activist with the ongoing coup there.
Well, Aarti laid out very comprehensively a system that people like scholars at Lewis and Clark University, Juliet Stumpf, call crimmigration. It's basically a system of interlacing laws and enforcement practices that lead to profiling, prosecuting, and jailing exponential numbers of Latinos in much the same way, for example, that drug laws prosecuted, jailed African Americans, Latinos, and other poor people in exponential numbers. So there's a new industry afoot, the kind of migration industrial complex that's driven by things like what some call crimmigration, and the Obama administration seems more than willing to entertain it. If a report by Syracuse University is right that tracks immigration, prosecution, and detention, it shows that we're now reaching, quote, levels seen during the Bush administration, the highest levels during the Bush administration. So if you're concerned about civil rights, immigrant rights, Latino issues, African-American poor people's issues, and you've been thinking about breaking with Barack Obama, you may want to join people over at the Council on Foreign Relations and other cities around the United States where now I think the Obama administration, Janet Napolitano, and President Obama are going to be targeted by groups that are fed up with the jailing, prosecuting, racial profiling, terror, and death of it all.
Honduras, very quickly, Roberto Lovato.
I interviewed Berta Oliva, a preeminent world-recognized human rights activist, head of the Committee of the Families of the Detained and Disappeared. And I was basically interviewing about Secretary Clinton's comments last week about the entrance of President Zelaya into Honduras as being, quote, reckless.
The fact that he went to the border in Nicaragua.
Right. Yeah, she said that it was reckless, and I asked Ms. Oliva what she thought, and she thought that Secretary Clinton was being, quote, reckless. And she said, well, right now we just had a bombing yesterday, and fortunately, there was nobody killed by the bombing because everybody from that union that was bombed was over at the funeral of one of the victims, the latest victims of the death squad killings, which will give you some sense of the situation that Berta Oliva believes that Secretary Clinton and President Obama are actually enabling, which is, you know, what are they communicating to people that are bombing unions, killing people, disappearing people, doing things that many of us remember and tremble at the thought of returning right now. And so when she hears Secretary Clinton saying this, she's outraged, like many people I've spoken to, about the lack of support for democracy, as we hear voiced in the case of Iran.
And we will certainly continue to follow developments in the coup in Honduras. This is Democracy Now! I want to thank you both for being with us. Roberto Lovato, contributing associate editor at New America Media, previously executive director of CREACEN, the Central American Resource Center, and Aarti Shahani, thank you for being with us, lead author on Local Democracy on ICE, a report on 287G program by the Nonpartisan Criminal Justice Institute, Justice Strategies. Stay with us.